All right, Greg, we are live, streaming to the
Wonderful.
world. So good to see you.
You too.
All right, so so you guys have probably, everyone watching here has probably received a couple emails from me in the past week or so about this cybersecurity stuff that took place. And I'm just gonna give you guys a quick little update where we're at, but it was like a catastrophic backup cloud data. It's like a data center that we use called CloudStar, that Star title, was attacked, we think, by Chinese ransomware. What do they call them? Threat actors, they call them. Threat actors. And they basically hit every single backup, every single like measure that this company had set up right now. This company worked its way through and then just locked the whole thing down. So that's kind of where we're at with Star Title. So what we've been doing is we've been rebuilding everything from the ground up in terms of software. We've relaunched our software. It's clunky, but we're working. So to give you guys an example, as we're working up files at Star Title, we normally have 12 closers who are working up files. We had about 4 people that could work up files manually and with old, outdated software. And so that's how we had been functioning for the past week and a half. And as of yesterday, we've got all 12 closers back in there, or mostly back into what we call resware, working up files again. So we're making progress, right? There's a light at the end of the tunnel there, right, Greg?
You know, it's I don't want to oversell it. I mean, it's definitely going to take some time because we had been customizing this software to run the title company for 4 years.
Yeah,
and
tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it.
We've flown people in to help us make it better. We've had consultants that have worked with us. We built this thing out, and it was considered one of the premier title softwares to run a title company. And so we lost all of that. And
Yeah.
you know, what I want everybody to know is that we did not sit around when this thing happened a week ago Friday, whenever that was, 10 days
on the
ago.
16th, I think, of on the 16th.
We tried to put out letters explaining to the agents what, you know, if you can picture what it was like, that, you know, everything that you've got in your phone and your computer that is going to guide you in these coming days with contacts and schedules, and it was just gone. And there was no way to get it back. We anticipated that this, you know, your first thing is you think, well, maybe they're going to pay the ransom and we're just going to get everything back nice and neat here in a couple of days. Well, then as we talked with more and more people, we realized that probably wasn't going to happen. So we set out immediately to rebuild and not sit there and wait and hope that these guys were going to get the ransom.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting it back. I think it's all gone.
So anyway, so we did not wait. We immediately started rebuilding, and we are setting up. Paul's working right now with our tech guy over at Star Title to set up systems that no one had recommended before, but now everybody's recommending.
Yeah. So we should talk about this. So there's going to be major changes, I think, across the industry on how stuff's backed up, because, you know, these companies like CloudStar, they're like, oh yeah, we can handle a nuclear disaster. We can handle anything. We've got all these backups, layers and layers and layers of protection. And at this point, you literally can't trust any company that tells you they can keep your information available and safe. It's not possible. In fact, 2 days ago, I just got notified that the Florida Department of Unemployment is currently locked down because of ransomware. So their entire unemployment department in Florida locked down. So, you know, Microsoft had it happen. The oil companies had it happen. I mean, it's hitting everybody. So we're going to create a new backup strategy where we're going to have 3 separate backups that are in different areas in different companies. So there's no connection between these 3. So we're going to have 3 separate backups that are totally independent of each other to try and avoid this. So in the future, if something were to happen like this with one of our backups, we can just flip a switch, pull the new backup in and go. We're probably going to even have what we call a air gapped backup, where, you know, you literally take a tape from a computer that's got a backup on it, and you unplug it and you literally set it on the floor so no one can touch it. The only thing that can get it is a office fire or a flood. So we're looking at all of those measures to protect. So one of the questions people have asked is like, what should we be telling our clients? I mean, is their information leaked? And the truth of the matter is, we don't know. We don't know. They're having they're having organizations work on this right now to try and figure out. And I think the term they use is called exfiltration. And exfiltration is if they pull the data out. No one knows if they just dropped the padlock on top of the software and they want the money, or if they've grabbed the data. They don't know. So, but I can tell you right now, the chances that any one of us have had our information leaked, we've probably all had our information leaked multiple times already.
So,
I know that I have.
let me go in a little bit different direction here and just
Sure.
say, so you as an agent, you sell a house tonight, and we want you to have confidence that you can trust Star Title to get the job done. And we are getting things done, and where we can't get things done, other titles companies have actually worked with us. So you still put the order through us, and then if we can't figure out a way to do it, another title company has already agreed to help us close it and still give all the premium dollar and the closing fee back to Star Title.
That's an important distinction. And right now, guys, we are working our hardest to get everything closed. And so people have said, hey, I've got a closing next week. And the truth is that right now, we believe that everything we currently have scheduled will close just fine. We might ask you to be flexible on scheduling. So if you call up, you're like, hey, I want a Friday closing. We might say, hey, would you mind a Tuesday or a Wednesday closing? Because this is a crazy stat that we're going to probably talk a little bit more about at some point in the future. But 45% of every single closing that happens at Star Title happens on a Friday. So you think about the week, right? It's like 3 closings, 3 closings, 3 closings, 3 closings, 3 closings, and all of a sudden 50 closings on a Friday. And so it's a really chaotic day. So anything we can do to spread the workload out is better for the team and making sure we can do everything properly. But what Greg said a second ago is if you are concerned about your file closing, please call us, because if you just flip it to another title company, we lose the company, all the work that we've done, all the effort, all of the ability to earn that money back to pay for all the work they've done. It's gone. But if you work with us, and if we need to, we can work with another title company, we can all still get paid, and Star Title can be compensated for that effort that went into that. So just work with us on it, and we want to work with you. But right now, we shouldn't be canceling anyone's closings going forward. That's the goal.
All right. So you want to move forward into the market?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think I've seen quite a few people kind of asking questions and commenting on this. They say, hey, does something feel different in the marketplace right now? Are you guys feeling that like homes aren't selling as quickly? The intensity is backing down a little bit. So Greg, talk to us a little bit about that. What are you seeing right now?
All right. So I try to look at a broad view, and then I can narrow it back down to just our company. So starting out with a broad view, Mishrick with 11 associations, which gives you a very broad-based deal of the West Michigan area. Right now, today, with just a couple days remaining this month, is down 38.9% from a year ago. They did about 5,200 sides a year ago in July. We're sitting at, I think, just a hair over 3,000 right now, with today, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, basically, this month. And then as a company, 5-Star had a huge July last year. We did just under 1,972 closings. Today, I'm estimating between today, tomorrow, and Friday, we probably are going to end up with maybe just under 800.
Question.
Yeah.
How much of the COVID effect with the rubber band effect, sort of, where we shut down for those months, and then all of a sudden everyone was having like record-breaking July? Like, I think that as a company, 5-Star broke every single record month after. So it was like July was a record-breaking month, August record-breaking month, even September was breaking, and we kept having these record-breaking months. Is that playing a role in the disparity of the 35% difference?
You know what? And again, I think if anybody tries to give you a definitive answer right now, they probably are not telling the whole story. I don't think you can look at 1 month and decide that's a trend. Mm-hmm. So what I'm doing right now is, obviously something just happened here in July, this July versus last July. We're down you know what, 20 to 25% maybe over a year ago. And at the same time, we have more agents. So it's even more troubling, I guess you could say. So I think what the agents are probably seeing right now from what we're picking up on is sellers are probably beginning to overreach, which means they've been so used to prices going up every month for so many years that they're continuing that same trend. At the same time, the market has cooled maybe a touch. And so the gap between the sellers' hope for and what reality is going to get a little bit wider here in the coming days, which means we're probably going to see listings spending a little bit more time in the market as sellers adjust to not necessarily a decrease in value, but just a leveling. Even a leveling is going to feel like a decrease.
Yeah, a leveling is going to feel like a halt.
Right. Right.
Now just want to add something here. A lot of what Greg is saying right now is
hypothetical.
Not hypothetical. It's ideas. Okay. So what we're going to do over the next week is we're going to start to pay really close attention to these numbers, and we'll probably start to create some reports here that we can prove to you what we're seeing and where we think things are headed. So
the toughest thing every time we're in a market where we hit this moment, the hardest thing is for a real estate agent to go out and convince a seller that I know what I'm talking about. This is what's taking place. And the way that I think what we have to start talking about as agents is helping sellers understand so they feel confident that you know what you're talking about. How you do that is typically through, you show them stats. You're not going to see, the newspapers are not going to talk about this because they're always 6 months late.
They're super late.
Slowdown in December, or it'll start making. And again, the thing you have to remember there too is that there is no such thing. We always have to remind people at this moment, there's no such thing as a national real estate market. They don't all move in lockstep. I mean, there are certain markets that are going to continue going up, and there's others that are going to go down, even while the average is moving along swiftly. So here's what you're going to see. You're probably going to see days on the market starting to extend a little bit. You're probably going to see maybe a few less showings. You're going to maybe see a few less offers. You're going to see, and again, whether it happens this month or next or the following, I'm looking at this in a kind of like a 3-month segment. I'm not going to take out a week or a month and call that a trend. And so I think the intensity is dropping, but the caveat that I've got right now.
And really quickly, when you say intensity, let's just for a second here. I mean, think about this. If the intensity slows by 200%, you're still in a seller's market.
Right.
Because a 6-month market, a 5 to 6 month market is considered even between buyers and sellers. So if we're at half a month supply now, and we go to 2.5 months supply or 2 months supply, that's hundreds of percents different.
Right. Right. You have to keep everything in perspective as you're talking to people. And so it's like when you're talking to people, it's like on the one hand and then on the other hand, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where we're at. But I think where the agents are going to see it in the near future is probably less showings, less offers, more time in the market. And probably we're going to get to a market where buyers are able to ask for inspections again. There probably won't, the number of escalation clauses will probably diminish. And so all these things that we've come to know over the last 3 to 5 years, as the market has been just climbing so fast, it could change. On the other hand, here's my caveat. There's a lot of people that were unable to buy a home in the last couple of years, right? Many people that maybe were FHA buyers, VA buyers, low down payments, they got smoked on multiple deals where they lost out.
Yep.
Those people are still out there. They still want a home.
Right. When people say, well, I think buyers are just tired and they're taking a break, that doesn't mean they're gone.
Right. Nope. Their needs, the reason that they wanted a home back then, that same need has not gone away today.
Right. Right.
Those needs are still there.
Right.
And so as I look at it, I think it'll be interesting to see who comes out during the fall. Do all these buyers that lost out, and then because of that, does the market begin to go back into a little bit of the frenzy that we've experienced?
I don't think we're done seeing. I don't think we're done. I don't see how we're done seeing frenzies. I mean, think back to markets. Think back to a 5-month market or a 4-month. I'm talking supply, 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, and you think about spring, right? There's always a rush. Even when you have a 4 to 5 months supply, there's still that sort of mad dash that takes place in the spring. But I mean, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see when we look at the actual speed. I know that Kim was asking about volume of sales. Well, we know the average sales prices are way up, so volume is going to be way up. But I don't think overall, if volume is, I mean, with pricing going up the way it is, I don't know.
So another thing to look at, I saw articles here late last week, or maybe it was even on Monday. They were talking about record low interest rates. The 15-year, I think on a national average, hit about 2.11 or 2.2. And 30 years were, I think, around 2.65. Now, again, those things bounce every day, so you got to be careful when you tell somebody about rates. But still, I mean, that interest rate allows buyers to have higher payments, or it allows them to have a higher mortgage and still have a less payment. And so that's what's been driving this thing is, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this whole thing is interest rate driven. And my word, if you have a less than 3% interest rate, and you look at what the payment's going to be on a $300,000 home, it's less than renting.
Right.
And,
so, yeah. So real quick here, as we start to, we'll pull these stats together, right?
Yep.
But what you're anticipating right now is that it's going to take a little while for sellers to catch up and understand that maybe the market's not going to be increasing at the speed it was, and sellers are always lagged. Right. Sellers are always lagged. Remember when the market was crashing, and they weren't willing to accept reality around here. So they were keeping their prices here. And so the same thing is when the price is going like this, they're gonna be up here still. They're thinking the price is up here still.
Yeah, exactly. So the hardest thing for an agent in the coming days is going to be trying to work with a seller to get them to be aware of these changes and willing to trust you. And you're going to need facts. The facts are going to be limited because it's not going to be a very long time to prove these things out yet. But if you talk with your fellow agents, just reach out and talk to a couple of people and say, hey, on your last listing, how many showings, how many offers, how many of them were over asking price? I've heard of numerous sales recently where the buyers are writing offers under asking price, which that's almost unheard of over the last 6 months. And
I mean, again, it's so much of it is based upon, like I saw someone ask a question the other day. They found water in a basement, and it was like at the open house there was water in the basement. Like, what a terrible day to have an open house, right? But it's obviously a great thing. They discovered this. So the person asked the question, how much should be knocked off the price because of this discovery? And isn't the question, well, it depends on how well the home was priced to begin with. So if I underprice a home, I'm going to have crazy activity. If I overprice a home, the market's going to say, nah, I'm not so sure.
Well, obviously there's multiple.
Right. I mean, you can't as on a blanket, this is what kind of spurred this on. This kind of conversation was, I think it was Doug Cook posted. He said, hey, I've got a home listed in this price point. I only had 6 showings, but the other homes around him had 50 to 60 showings. Well, so you can't say the market is, you couldn't say in his situation, the market is slowed. Well, no, because the 3 homes around him all had.
That's why you have to ask around.
Right.
You have to ask multiple people to get a better feeling. You can't isolate these things, or you're
Right.
going to.
That's my point. My point is you can't extrapolate a one or two experiences out that far. We have to be cautious. And so, because the market could still just surprise you and keep going like that. So why don't we look into it, right? Keep an eye on it, and we'll create some reports. All right, moving on.
But Paul,
yeah,
we'll be doing some research, but I want to encourage each of the agents. And again, in our current world of isolation, agents aren't together in the room all the time. So I would encourage you to reach out to some of your peers that you trust and and ask them on their last few listings or their last few offers, what happened?
Yeah.
And then
good
you
advice.
can start getting a broader view of what's going on and not just rely upon your own circumstances.
Yep, that's good advice.
All righty.
All right, moving on here. We were going to talk briefly about happy hours and company meetings. So it's obviously been a while since we've seen everybody. So we are going to be, you guys will probably be receiving invitations for some happy hours coming up that we're going to be kind of spreading around in all the market areas. So we would love to see you guys there. It's been a long time.
We were in Traverse City. We were in Traverse City last week for an open house. Had a great turnout. Tomorrow we're in Whitehall, I believe.
Yep. So if you're up in Whitehall and you want to come by and hang out, we're going to have picadillos there.
3 to 5.
Yep, 3 to 5. So look for those opportunities, guys. We would love to see you. And then we're going to plan a company meeting. We'll have a fall fun day, I think, coming up too, where we get all the families together. We'll rent a big, I don't know what we'll do. I don't want to promise yet, but I don't know. We've done things in the past, like rented apple orchards, things like this. So we'll find ways to get everybody together. And then we're going to get everyone together hopefully soon at that company meeting. We're looking at October 27 for a company meeting, where we'll just bring everybody in if we can. So, and what else? And coffee hours. We're going to try and get some coffee hours rolling again. I know some markets have them going right now, but we're going to try and make a bigger push for that kind of water cooler talk, kind of like we talk here, where we can get everyone together talking about, hey, how's your market doing? How are things going? Things up, things down. So keep an eye out for those types of things.
All right. That's all I've got.
That's all I got, man. I think that's all I got too. So anyways, guys, keep an eye out. We're going to, like I said, we're going to put some stats together and try and keep an eye on the market. We'll keep you guys updated as we see the market shifting or changing, and we'll try and keep you posted. So hope you guys have a great week. Talk to you later. All right. See ya.